Well. Today on Toast Talks with CoachBusi, I have the honor. That sounds so shallow, but I don't have another word to use right now. But I have the honor of having one of the most respected Toastmasters, not just in Southern Africa, but in the whole Toastmaster world. And that is the amazing Tim Knight, DTM. DTM Tim, welcome.
Thank you.
I am so delighted to have you with me. 14,577 days, 39 years, 10 months, and 29 days today. That is how long I've been here. I calculated you have been a Toastmaster. True or true?
It's not quite true. I've been a Toastmaster longer than that. It's just over 40 years because my club was very naughty and didn't submit my dues to World Headquarters for several months. And so, but I'm sticking to the date I joined, which was March 1974. So.
Wow, that is quite a stretch to be a Toastmaster. I'm curious to know, what made you want to join this organization? We're going to get to why you stayed, but right at the genesis, what made you want to become a Toastmaster?
Oh, that's an interesting story because I went through my mid-career crisis. And I've been a successful chemical engineer for about 20 years and decided I wanted to do something different. I decided that I wanted to go into IT because I liked computer programming. And so I did, only to find I wasn't doing any computer programming. That was done by the experts, by the boffins. They wanted me to sell software. And so I tried and failed miserably. And my boss said to me, unless you improve your presentation skills, I'm afraid you won't make it in this industry. Oh dear. So just happened to be in the library, Florida Library, and there was a brochure, Florida Toastmasters, improve your speaking skills. Oh, maybe that's for me. So I followed up and somebody phoned me, Peter Short, said, come along to one of our meetings. And so I did. And the first thing I saw was the speakers, the business session. I thought, oh, very good. Mm-hmm. Then I saw the speakers. I thought, not bad. Then an evaluator stood up and evaluated the first speaker. I could not believe my eye. Wow. Gosh, this is fantastic. And that was March, and I joined up that night. So been a member of that club ever since. So that's what happened. And the funny thing was, I evaluated my old boss several years later because he joined Toastmasters and gave him a good evaluation. But he was a good speaker, and we chatted, and he saw the funny side of it. So
that is a funny story. But so like Toastmasters, you got in first, but you then got to evaluate your boss. You mentioned the club that you joined, Tim. Is that the club you're still a member of right now?
Absolutely, yes. I've stayed with them ever since.
Please, give us the name of the club again. What we do here most of the time is if I'm interviewing and the person really loves their club, they get a shout-out moment. So please give your club some love so that other Toastmasters can also visit and the new ones might want to join. What is your club and what makes it special?
Well, it's Florida Toastmasters Club. This is Florida, which is a suburb of Johannesburg. And we met in various venues, but then along came COVID and we had to switch to online meetings for a couple of years. Then after that, because we were online, we began to attract visitors from distance. And we had a member from West Indies and and Maputo and Zimbabwe. We still do have Zimbabwe members, and even Cape Town. That's a long way away. And so we realised that we can't just say, "Sorry, we're going back to face-to-face meetings," and off you go. So we've kept them in the hybrid format. So now we meet in my house. We first of all tried to go back to an old venue we went to in a restaurant, and there their signal was poor and their power reliability was poor. We went somewhere else, which was very suitable, but then the lady who owned the place, she retired and went down to East London. And so I thought, well, I'm in a big house. My room is probably, we can handle about 13, 15 people. And so we've been there ever since. Then we set up there, and every Tuesday, people start rolling up about 6:30. The fire is lit because it's winter, and the snacks are there, and the beer is there, the coffee is there, everything is there to have a great meeting, and we have fun. It's really, really good. And then we have a TV set up for people who are distant, and they appear on the TV, and so it works very well. We're really, really enjoying it. And so anyone wants to come along Tuesday night, first and third Tuesday, come along and see us.
There you go. And that's what I love. When people are invested, shout outs for their clubs are not difficult at all. You just did a whole invitational moment right there. And I'm sure people will come and visit. I would really love to know a memorable moment over the 40 years that you've been a Toastmaster. Would you like to share one moment that is memorable for you?
Well, there's many, and there's usual traditional ones, but the one that tickles me every time I think of it is when we were approaching July 30th, just a few days to go, and we had 6 clubs. This is when I was vice president, when I was lieutenant governor, marketing, the club growth director, as it's called today. And I had 6 clubs who'd paid their money and given me the forms. And our treasurer said, "How do I get this money to America in this short time?" She said, "Well, I'm in foreign exchange in my bank. I think I've got a window at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Call me." And so she had the banking details, obviously. And she said, "Right, what's the first one?" And I gave her the details. And she wired the money over to World Headquarters in a half an hour. She said, "Oh, sorry, the window's closed now. Have you got any more?" I said, "No, that was it. We got them done." So 6 clubs were done in the I think it was the last day, actually.
Wow.
And that enabled us. We broke the record for a number of clubs chartered in our district for that year. It's been broken since, but that was the 16 clubs we got chartered that year, with those last 6 going in at the last minute. And that's a strange, memorable thing, but I never forget thinking this lady is helping us so much by getting this money across to America, sneaking them in between her big bank jobs that she was doing. It's fabulous.
Yeah. That would be memorable. You see, I have banking background, and I can understand exactly the kind of loops she had to work with and the pressure that was on, and of course the time difference between America and where you are. It would have taken a lot of moving parts to come together, but kudos to you that it happened. I can understand why it's memorable. That is so good. That is so good. Now, when it comes to members, do you have a story to tell us about how Toastmasters has helped in networking and given you any people-related kind of story? I would be interested to hear.
Well, the thing about Toastmasters is that people talk about, and they all think about speaking and leadership and all that sort of thing. But the main thing that Toastmasters has given people is confidence. And I often say, it's made me dangerously confident. I get into things which I really, shouldn't do, and I might, but I get out of them somehow. So it's fine. It's fine. But that's the part that I think is so good about Toastmasters. And I think of how nervous I used to be, and how confident I am. It's the real valuable spin-off you get from Toastmasters, and how much you can grow in that particular direction, and it's all because of you're giving speeches in front of people, because you're leading them, you're showing them the way, it really boosts your confidence when a strong person comes to you for help, and you can help them and they thank you. I mean, that's superb. That's a wonderful feeling.
Absolutely. I love that. So the network does grow and the relationships also get solidified. It's amazing.
Yes, you got broken up there. I'm sorry, Angela. What was your point?
Not a problem. I was just saying the network really becomes strong, and almost everywhere you turn, there is someone who's a Toastmaster who can help you, or who you can bounce ideas off. In your career, besides where you started, as you progressed, what are some of the things that you could say, oh, this is really because of Toastmasters, or the skills that I honed in from Toastmasters that I am able to do this? Would you like to give us an example of one of those kind of stories?
Oh, yeah. The latter part of my career, I'm a chemical engineer, and the latter part of my career in chemical engineering was studying the environmental impacts of chemical plants. And I would write reports on saying that this plant will make this amount of noise and make these wastes, these effluents, these gaseous emissions. And I'd have to present those to the public. And this would be telling the ordinary man in the street how a chemical plant works and what the impacts of it were. And to do that, you have to put it back, present it in layman's language that they will understand, give examples that they can understand, pictures that they can understand, and give them the confidence that this is going to be all right. And they ask you awkward questions, and you answer them honestly. And if you can't answer them, you say, I'm sorry, I can't answer you that one, but I will find out for you. And then you do it. You find out for them, and that is so impressive to them that you come back to them like you said you would. And that's the kind of thing that Toastmasters taught me how to present, taught me with confidence, taught me how to deal with the layman, be able to talk to him in his own language, so he gets confident with me and with what the company was doing. So that's a huge thing for Toastmasters, and I did an awful lot of that.
That is awesome. You're so right. That feedback, the way we are taught to give feedback and how to have integrity, one of our values.
Yep.
If you say you're going back, you go back and you do it. From what you said, the one thing that I can really attest to as well that comes top of mind right now is how you always know that if you don't know something, there is somebody somewhere who has the answer. You just need to identify where to go and get it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and very important in club officer training to tell officers, sorry, I can't answer that question, but I will get it for you. See if we can, as people here who might know, we'll get the answer to you. You care about their interest, their need for that piece of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now we've talked about the fun stuff, the good stuff. I am going to ask about any challenges that you have faced in and around Toastmasters with this journey, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Well, the real challenges has been with people, and not there's been many, but that's where I'd say the most difficult challenges are when people don't agree with you, they don't like what you're doing, and then you have to speak to them or they fear you, and then you have to break down that barrier and talk to them, make them realize that really isn't a problem, just so long as we talk about it. And that's the heart of the matter, is discussing it. And I'm a great believer in one-on-one I prefer one-on-one to one-on-group. What one-on-group is training, but one-on-one is that's when you get the personal development, the relationship development, one-on-one. And I hope I'm not going to give away a secret here. I like to go for a beer with someone. That's my answer for solving a problem. Come on, let's go and have a beer and talk about this, And usually after about the third beer, the truth comes out, and we start to get down to brass tacks. And I use this in work. When I was dealing with the operators, we have a problem with a plant. I said, let's go. There's a pub across the road from the factory. I said, let's go meet in the pub. And we go in there and then have a few beers, and then the solution would come out. And the biggest problem was remembering what you said. So that would have to be that you have to be very careful about writing down and seeing the guy the next day say, "Are we still on with that scheme?" Yes, of course, that's great. Yeah, this was the usual thing. So a great believer in that. There used to be a thing called management by wandering about. Was a famous leadership, although called it management. It was really a leadership trait. You wander around the factory, wander around the workplace. Hey, how you doing, George? Get that relationship, the heart of the matter. Get that relationship with the people, and then move towards solving that problem. And I extended that to management by getting drunk. So not sure, maybe not every time, but
not every time. Yeah.
After having
I love the way you said that. The problem would be remembering what we discussed. I can so see how that could be a problem. We had a brilliant answer to that question. But what did you say again? What was the conclusion? Oh, you know what? I can't remember. Yeah, that would be fun. You also mentioned that you like to have one-on-ones and groups for training. I love that aspect. I coach young mothers who are bringing up amazing children. And one of the principles that I always try and drop in there is this thing of praise in public and then correct in private. If you have your child and they're misbehaving in public, don't use that as the correction point. Manage it, and then when you're in private, go ahead and say, "But Johnny, what was that all about? We don't do that."
Yes.
And I think that principle does well with what you're saying about the one-on-ones.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Because what you want is a solution at the end of the day. You're not trying to have a competition of wits and power moves, and sometimes that's what typically will then happen, because if someone feels you offended me, now I must push back, and that doesn't help solve the problems.
No, that wouldn't work.
I do appreciate that you mentioned that it's the people issue. And as you say that, I had an interesting people issue as I was area director last season. I got to a point where I was like, why did I take on this role? I am up to here with frustration. But now on the other side of it, the amount of patience, the amount of negotiation skills that I managed to get, the way I managed to get people to rally around ideas they were not even 100% on board with. But because I had a goal in the end for the area, I managed to find workarounds. And that speaks to the transferable skills that you get in Toastmasters. In your passage, when it comes to transferable skills from Toastmasters into career, maybe into home, what would you like to share with the listener?
The communication skills that you get to talk to people and listening is absolutely crucial. That's that silly cliche. You've got two ears and one mouth. so therefore you want to listen twice as much as you talk. Is so important. You get the reputation. Hey, at least he listens. Someone told me that once, and then when you listen and then you answer instead of answering first. So there's that aspect. As far as transferable skills, it's basic presentation skills are always useful. You reach a point where you've got to present, and if you demonstrate you're good at presenting, you'll get that job every time because you know how to present. Now, what follows on from presentation and listening is leadership, and the leadership skills you get from Toastmasters. I mean, the president of a Toastmasters club is a fantastic leadership opportunity. You're on your own, hardly get any bother from anybody else, and you got to lead this team to distinguished club, select distinguished, preferably presidents distinguished, and it all can be done. And those three things can be transferable to the outside world where you're helping. You're communicating, and as soon as you start communicating, you're starting to lead.